The Rise of Thebes. In ancient Greece, Athens and Sparta were the dominant powers, overshadowing other cities with their military and political prowess. However, amidst these giants, a lesser-known city began its rise, Thebes. The Thebans quietly but steadily transformed themselves from a secondary player into one of the most formidable forces in Greece, challenging even the might of Sparta. This shift didn't happen overnight. It was the result of careful strategy, calculated alliances, and Eve. The rise of Thebes is a fascinating example of how power in the ancient world was never truly static. No matter how dominant a city or state might appear, there was always the potential for a new contender to emerge. Thebes, once considered an underdog, did precisely that, and its rise reshaped the balance of power across the Greek world. But what made Thebes' story so unique? How did it succeed where so many others had failed? The answer lies in a combination of geographical advantages, political cunning, and military genius. Throughout this journey, we'll uncover the key elements that propelled Thebes from relative obscurity to the pinnacle of Greek power. To give a modern spin on this, if Sparta and Athens were the superheroes everyone knew, Thebes was the anti-hero, quietly scheming in the background before making a grand entrance onto the stage. The Geography of Thebes. Thebes' strategic location played an undeniable role in its eventual dominance. Situated in Boeotia, a region in central Greece, Thebes enjoyed fertile plains that allowed it to build a strong agricultural base. While many ancient Greek city-states struggled with food production due to mountainous terrains, Thebes had a relatively abundant supply of grain and other crops. This agricultural strength not only sustained its population, but also provided the resources needed to maintain a robust army. Surrounding Thebes were natural barriers, particularly the mountains of Cithaeron and Parnassus, which served as protective shields against invaders. This defensive advantage made it difficult for enemy forces to attack the city directly, allowing Thebans to focus on building their internal strength without constant fear of being overrun. Moreover, Thebes' location between Athens and the rest of Greece gave it a strategic edge in trade and diplomacy. Positioned at a crossroads, Thebes was able to control key trade routes, which brought wealth and resources into the city. This central position also meant that Thebes could influence, and later control, its neighboring cities more easily, laying the groundwork for the formation of the Boeotian League. Speaking of geography, let's not forget, while other Greek city-states were building ships and exploring the seas, Thebes was fortifying its lands. With these geographical advantages, Thebes was like the ancient equivalent of a well-located fortress, allowing its leaders to focus on strategy rather than survival. Another aspect of Theban geography that shaped its rise was its proximity to other significant powers. Being relatively close to both Athens and Sparta meant that Thebes had to stay alert to shifts in power. At times, it chose to ally with one city-state or the other, leveraging its location to maintain a delicate balance of power. At other times, Thebes played both sides, staying out of conflicts until the opportune moment to strike. This blend of geographical security, agricultural wealth, and strategic positioning allowed Thebes to grow steadily over time. By the time it began forming alliances with nearby cities, Thebes had the resources and defensive position to assert itself as a regional power. The Boeotian League. The formation of the Boeotian League marked a significant step in Thebes' rise to power. The League was a federation of city-states in the Boeotian region, united under Theban leadership. While many Greek alliances were formed in response to external threats, the Boeotian League had a deeper purpose. It allowed Thebes to solidify control over its neighbors and consolidate power in central Greece. Initially, the Boeotian League was formed as a defensive alliance, primarily to protect against the expansionist ambitions of Athens and Sparta. But Thebes quickly turned this alliance into a tool for its own dominance. Through a combination of diplomacy and coercion, Thebes positioned itself as the leader of the League, making key decisions for the entire region. Member cities retained some degree of autonomy, but when it came to military and foreign policy, Thebes was in charge. One of the League's greatest strengths was its ability to pool resources. By combining the military forces and economic resources of multiple cities, Thebes was able to project much greater power than it could have on its own. This collective strength was particularly useful in times of war, as the League's forces could match the size of Athens or Sparta's armies. It also allowed Thebes to punch above its weight on the diplomatic stage, as it could negotiate from a position of strength. However, the Boeotian League wasn't just about military might. It also had a significant impact on the political and cultural unity of the region. Thebes implemented a federal system of governance within the League, where each city had a voice, but Thebes held the most influence. This system helped to foster a sense of Boeotian identity, with Thebes at its center. Of course, not everyone was thrilled with Thebes's leadership. There were occasional rebellions and resistance from member cities that didn't appreciate Theban dominance. But through a mix of diplomacy, military force, and sometimes outright coercion, Thebes managed to keep the League together, at least long enough to challenge its greatest rivals. In short, Thebes used the Boeotian League as a tool for regional control. It was the ultimate power move, like being the president of the neighborhood association, but with more spears and battle formations. And, as we all know, nothing says we're in charge quite like a well-organized federation of city-states. The Role of Epaminondas. No story about Thebes would be complete without discussing Epaminondas, the military genius who transformed the city's fortunes. Before Epaminondas, Thebes was strong, but still struggling to break free from the shadow of Athens and Sparta. It was Epaminondas who gave Thebes the tactical edge it needed to become a dominant force in Greek affairs. Epaminondas was a visionary in the art of war. Unlike the rigid, predictable battle formations that had been the standard in Greek warfare for centuries, Epaminondas introduced flexibility and creativity. His most famous innovation was the oblique phalanx formation, which concentrated forces on one side of the battlefield rather than evenly distributing them. This allowed Theban forces to break through enemy lines at key points, causing disarray and confusion among their opponents. His tactical brilliance was on full display during the Battle of Leuctra in 371 BCE, where Thebes scored a decisive victory over Sparta. This battle is widely regarded as one of the most important in Greek history, as it shattered the myth of Spartan invincibility. The Theban army, led by Epaminondas, not only defeated Sparta but also killed one of its kings, Cleombrotus, in the process. But Epaminondas wasn't just a military strategist. He was also a visionary leader who believed in the potential of Thebes to lead a new era in Greek politics. He sought not only to defeat Sparta, but to liberate the Greek city-states from its dominance. Epaminondas envisioned a more balanced Greek world, where power was not concentrated in a single city, but shared among several leading states. He also sought to promote the autonomy of smaller city-states, believing that Thebes could serve as a protector of Greek freedom. Epaminondas's legacy is one of innovation, courage, and vision. He redefined Greek warfare and reshaped the political landscape of Greece. While he only lived to see a few years of Theban dominance, his influence would be felt for generations to come. The Battle of Leuctra. The Battle of Leuctra in 371 BCE was the moment Thebes truly announced itself as a major power in the Greek world. For decades, Sparta had been the dominant military force in Greece, its soldiers feared by all. But at Leuctra, Thebes proved that even the greatest powers could fall. The battle itself was a masterclass in military strategy. Epaminondas' oblique phalanx formation, which concentrated Theban forces on one side of the battlefield, allowed his army to break through the Spartan lines with devastating effect. This wasn't just a tactical innovation, it was a psychological one. For the first time in living memory, Spartan soldiers fled the battlefield in disarray. The myth of Spartan invincibility was shattered. The victory at Leuctra had far-reaching consequences. It not only weakened Sparta's military power, but also undermined. Many of Sparta's allies began to defect, realizing that Thebes was now the leading power in the region. This victory also gave Thebes the confidence to pursue further military and diplomatic campaigns, solidifying its position as the new hegemon of Greece. But perhaps the most significant aspect of the Battle of Leuctra was its symbolism. It wasn't just a military victory, it was a shift in the balance of power. For centuries, Sparta had been the unchallenged leader of the Greek world. Now Thebes had proven that even the mightiest city-states could be brought low by innovation, strategy, and sheer determination. And let's not forget, while everyone loves a good David versus Goliath story, Leuctra was more like David learned martial arts and took Goliath completely by surprise. How Thebes played the political game military victories were just one aspect of Thebes' rise to power. Equally important was the city's ability to navigate the complex political landscape of ancient Greece. As Thebes became a dominant force, it had to balance alliances, rivalries, and shifting loyalties to maintain its newfound power. After the Battle of Leuctra, Thebes was in a unique position. It had just defeated Sparta, the military powerhouse of the Greek world, but it still had to contend with other major city-states, particularly Athens. Athens, while not as militarily dominant as Sparta, was still a major player, thanks to its naval power and its cultural and political influence. Thebes understood that it couldn't rely on military strength alone to maintain its dominance. Diplomatic strategy was equally crucial. One of Thebes' most important alliances was with Athens, but this relationship was anything but straightforward. Although both city-states shared a common enemy in Sparta, their ambitions often clashed. Thebes sought to expand its influence throughout central Greece, while Athens was primarily focused on maintaining its dominance in the Aegean and its control over it. For a brief period, Thebes and Athens cooperated against Sparta. This alliance was one of convenience rather than genuine camaraderie. Both cities recognized the need to check Spartan power, but neither wanted the other to grow too strong. As such, their partnership was fragile, and tensions frequently bubbled beneath the surface. To complicate matters further, Thebes had to manage its relationships with other city-states within the Boeotian League. While Thebes led the League, some member state, smaller cities like Plataea and Thespiae, occasionally revolted or sought to undermine Theban control. Thebes had to use a combination of diplomacy, coercion, and outright military force to keep the League intact. The shifting dynamics in Greece during this period meant that Thebes had to stay constantly vigilant. The rise of Macedon under Philip II was another growing threat. While Thebes focused on its internal and regional rivals, Macedon was slowly expanding its influence in the north. Initially, Thebes underestimated the threat posed by Philip, believing that the traditional Greek city-states could keep Macedon in check. However, as Macedon continued to grow, Thebes found itself diplomatically isolated. Athens, once a tenuous ally, began to shift its focus towards countering the Macedonian threat. Thebes, on the other hand, struggled to adapt to the changing geopolitical landscape. Its alliances, once strong, began to crumble as Philip's power grew. In hindsight, Thebes' diplomatic strategy worked well in the short term, allowing it to rise to prominence quickly. However, its failure to build lasting alliances and adapt to the rise of Macedon ultimately contributed to its downfall. Thebes had excelled in playing the internal Greek political game, but failed to recognize the growing external threat from the north. If ancient Greek diplomacy were a game of chess, Thebes played a brilliant opening and mid-game but struggled in the endgame when Macedon made its unexpected move. You know that feeling when you think you've got everything under control, until you realize you've been playing the wrong game all along? Yeah, that's Thebes. Culture and Society of Thebes. While Thebes is often remembered for its military exploits, the city's cultural and societal fabric played a crucial role in its identity. Far from being solely a militaristic power like Sparta, Thebes boasted a rich cultural life that contributed to its influence in the Greek world. At the heart of Theban society was a balance between military prowess and intellectual pursuit. The Theban elite, particularly the aristocracy, were well versed in both warfare and education. Citizens were expected not only to defend their city, but also to contribute to its cultural and civic life. This dual focus on military and intellectual development was a defining feature of Theban society. Thebes was known for its contributions to Greek mythology and religion, particularly through its association with the gods Dionysus and Heracles. The city was the birthplace of Heracles, one of the most celebrated heroes in Greek mythology, and his legacy played a significant role in Theban identity. Religious festivals in honor of Dionysus and Heracles were major events in Theban life, blending In terms of education, Thebes had a robust tradition of schooling, particularly for its male citizens. Young boys in Thebes were trained in a variety of disciplines, including music, poetry, and rhetoric, in addition to their military training. This well-rounded education helped to create citizens who were capable not only on the battlefield, but also in civic affairs. One unique aspect of Theban society was its emphasis on the sacred band, an elite military unit composed of 150 pairs of male love. The sacred band was not only a formidable fighting force, but also a reflection of the Theban belief in the deep emotional bonds that could inspire courage and loyalty in battle. The sacred band played a crucial role in many of Thebes' military victories, including the Battle of Leuctra. The cultural life of Thebes wasn't limited to military and religious affairs. The city also had a vibrant artistic scene, particularly in the realm of theater. While Athens is more famous for its contributions to drama, Thebes also had a tradition of theatrical performances, particularly during religious festivals. Theban playwrights and poets contributed to the wider Greek literary tradition, though their works have not survived as extensively as those from other regions. However, Theban culture also had its limitations. Unlike Athens, Thebes never became a center for philosophical thought. While it had a strong educational system, Thebes didn't produce. The city's focus remained more practical than abstract, with an emphasis on training citizens for civic and military life rather than philosophical debate. Despite these limitations, Theban culture was deeply influential within its own region. The city's religious traditions, military innovations, and educational practices all contributed to its success and helped to distinguish it from its rivals. And of course, we can't forget the sacred band, the ancient equivalent of power couples, but with talk about relationship goals. The Decline of Thebes, from peak to fall. Every rise eventually leads to a fall, and for Thebes, the path from peak power to decline was swift and dramatic. After the height of its influence in the aftermath of the Battle of Leuctra, Thebes found itself struggling to maintain its position in a rapidly changing Greek world. The decline of Thebes can be traced to several key factors, both internal and external. Internally, the death of Epaminondas in 362 BCE was a major blow to Theban leadership. Epaminondas had been the driving force behind Thebes' military successes and its rise to power. With his death, the city lost not only a brilliant military strategist, but also a visionary leader who had the charisma and intelligence to guide Thebes through its challenges. Without Epaminondas, Thebes struggled to find a leader of equal stature. The city's internal politics became increasingly divided. With Rivai, these political divisions weakened Thebes' ability to project power and maintain its alliances. The Boeotian League, once a key source of Theban strength, began to fracture as member cities grew disillusioned with Theban leadership. Externally, the rise of Macedon under Philip II posed a significant threat to Theban dominance. While Thebes had focused on maintaining its influence in central Greece, Philip was quietly consolidating power in the north. By the time Thebes recognized the full extent of the Macedonian threat, it was too late to form an effective resistance. The turning point came in 338 BCE at the Battle of Chaeronea, where the combined forces of Thebes and Athens faced off against Philip's Macedonian army. The battle ended in a crushing defeat for the Greek alliance, with Thebes suffering particularly heavy losses. The Sacred Band, Thebes' elite military unit, was completely annihilated during the battle, marking the end of Theban military power. In the aftermath of Chaeronea, Thebes was forced to submit to Macedonian rule. The once proud city, which had stood at the pinnacle of Greek power, was now a vassal state under the control of Philip and later his son Alexander the Great. The final blow came in 335 BCE when Alexander, seeking to assert his authority over Greece, destroyed Thebes in retaliation for a revolt. The city was razed to the ground, and its population was either killed or sold into slavery. The fall of Thebes was swift and brutal, but it serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of power in the ancient world. A city that had once challenged the might of Sparta and Athens was brought low by internal strife and the rise of a new external threat. Legacy of Thebes, a lasting impact on history. Despite its eventual destruction, the legacy of Thebes endures in the annals of history. Thebes' military innovations, particularly under Epaminondas, left a lasting mark on the art of warfare. The oblique phalanx, a tactic introduced at the Battle of Leuctra, continued to influence military strategy for centuries. It was studied and emulated by future generals, including those of the Roman Empire, who recognized its effectiveness in breaking through enemy lines. Thebes also left a cultural legacy through its association with Greek mythology. The city was the birthplace of Heracles, one of the most iconic heroes in Greek mythology. Heracles' connection to Thebes ensured that the city would always have a place in the mythological tradition, even after its political power had faded. Moreover, Thebes' role in challenging Spartan dominance helped to reshape the political landscape of Greece. The Theban victory at Leuctra demonstrated that even the most powerful city-states could be defeated with the right combination of strategy and innovation. This victory inspired other city-states to resist Spartan hegemony and contributed to the eventual decline of Sparta's influence in the Greek world. Thebes' place in history is also cemented by its contributions to the broader Greek idea. While it never achieved the cultural heights of Athens or the military dominance of Sparta, Thebes played a crucial role in shaping the balance of power in Greece during the 4th century BCE. In the end, Thebes is a reminder that history is full of unexpected twists and turns. The city that was once a mere footnote in the struggles between Athens and Sparta rose to become a dominant force, only to fall just as quickly. But its legacy lives on, a testament to the power of innovation, strategy, and determination. And let's face it, whether on the battlefield or in the annals of history, Thebes knew how to make an entrance and an exit.
When life's challenges come my way, paused and soft, I'll be ready for that day. Very calm, echoing the voice, but still close. Strength and wisdom by my side. Intense, strong, no fear to face, nowhere to hide. Intense. I subscribe to this channel, click like today. Because content like this just lights my way. Intense and slow.